What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. After his latest win, Aiemann Zahabi made headlines by calling out Sean O'Malley during his post-fight Octagon interview. Riding high on his victory, Zahabi took the mic and directly mentioned O'Malley's name, making it clear that he wanted a shot at the bantamweight champion. The crowd reacted with excitement, sensing the potential of a high-profile matchup between the two. Not long after, O'Malley responded on social media, but his tone suggested he wasn't taking Zahabi's call-out too seriously. He simply posted a short video saying, "Congratulations," with his trademark smirk, which many fans interpreted as a playful dismissal rather than a genuine acceptance of the challenge. At the post-fight press conference, Zahabi was asked about O'Malley's reaction, and he seemed confident and composed. Smiling as he addressed the media, Zahabi said, "I mean, yeah, that's good. It seems like we're setting it up, boys. If he didn't want it, he wouldn't have made a video." His comments hinted that he believes O'Malley's response might have opened the door for the fight to actually happen. Zahabi made it clear he's ready and eager to test himself against one of the division's biggest stars, saying that he respects O'Malley's skills, but feels confident in his own abilities. The exchange quickly gained traction online, with fans buzzing about the potential matchup and wondering if O'Malley will take the challenge seriously in the coming months. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to help support the channel. Moving on to another news, Fedor Emelianenko shared his thoughts on Magomed Ankalaev losing the light heavyweight title to Alex Pereira. Fedor expressed his respect and admiration for Magomed, saying he knows him personally and holds him in high regard both as a fighter and as a person. He mentioned that while the loss was unfortunate, life goes on and Magomed still has a bright future ahead of him. Fedor emphasized that setbacks happen in every athlete's career, but what matters most is how one responds to them. He believes Magomed will bounce back stronger, as he's already proven himself by becoming champion once before. According to Fedor, Magomed just needs to analyze what went wrong, make the right adjustments, and come back more focused and determined than ever. Fedor described him as a gifted fighter with incredible potential, noting that he's not someone who talks too much or seeks attention. Instead, Magomed is known for his discipline, humility, and strong work ethic. Fedor added that he appreciates Magomed not only for his fighting skills, but also for being a cultured and respectful individual. He truly believes Magomed has everything it takes to reclaim the title and rise to the top once again. Moving on to another news, Kevin Holland wasn't pleased with his performance at UFC Vancouver. The event marked Holland's 5th appearance inside the octagon this year, bringing his 2025 record to 2 wins and 3 losses. During his co-main event bout against Mike Malott on Saturday night, Holland faced some early adversity after suffering 2 low blows in the opening round. Despite the clear fouls, the referee chose not to deduct a point from Malott, which visibly frustrated Holland. After the incident, Holland seemed a bit off his rhythm and never fully found his usual flow in the fight. As the rounds went on, Malott capitalized on his momentum, landing cleaner shots and controlling the pace, while Holland struggled to regain his composure. When the final bell rang, the judges scored the bout in favor of Malott via unanimous decision, marking Holland's 2nd straight loss inside the octagon. Following the defeat, Holland took to Twitter to share his raw reaction. Known for his honesty and sense of humor, he didn't hold back. He wrote, "No doubt we suck. Never bet on me again, and I need a head massage." Fans reacted quickly, with many appreciating his humility and self-awareness despite the tough loss. Others voiced frustration about the referee's decision not to penalize Malott for the repeated fouls, suggesting that it may have affected the outcome. Holland, however, didn't make excuses and seemed to take full responsibility for the result. It was a rare moment of vulnerability from a fighter who's usually lighthearted and full of confidence. Still, fans know Holland for his resilience and willingness to fight anyone, anytime, and many believe he'll bounce back stronger after this setback. Moving on to another news, the MMA community is once again in an uproar after a controversial split decision victory was awarded to Aiemann Zahabi over Marlon Vera. The fight was close, but many fans and analysts believe the judges got it completely wrong. Social media quickly exploded with outrage as fans shared their disbelief over the official scorecards. One fan wrote, "Judges were absolutely drunk. How only one judge gave Chito round 1 is beyond me. Also, Chito has the IQ of a potato. Round 2 could easily have gotten him out of there, but he decided to throw no punches. What was that?" Another fan added, "Chito won that fight. Zahabi is such a split decision merchant. Clear Canada bias. Robbery. Chito landed the most effective strikes and outlanded him. Disgusting robbery." The backlash didn't stop there. Many fans accused the judges of showing hometown favoritism towards Zahabi, who was fighting on home soil. Some pointed out that Vera appeared to be the more aggressive and damaging fighter throughout most of the bout, while Zahabi relied heavily on counter-striking and movement, but didn't do enough to clearly win rounds. Analysts also weighed in, with several saying that Vera's combination combinations and octagon control should have been enough to secure the victory. Others criticized the judging system itself, saying that inconsistent criteria continue to lead to outcomes like this one. Despite the controversy, Zahabi celebrated the win, calling it a hard-fought battle and thanking the crowd for their support. However, the debate rages on across the MMA world, with fans demanding better judging standards and more accountability from officials after yet another questionable decision that left everyone talking. Moving on to another news, UFC Vancouver delivered a major surprise on Saturday night at Rogers Arena as Brendan Allen pulled off a stunning upset against RDR in the main event. The two battled through 4 hard-fought rounds before Allen's relentless pressure and pace began to take over. By the end of the 4th, RDR looked exhausted, and his corner decided to stop the fight between rounds, giving Allen the biggest win of his career. The result shocked many fans who expected RDR to dominate, but it was Allen's night from start to finish. Shortly after the fight, a video surfaced showing RDR looking visibly emotional and frustrated with his performance. He could be heard saying, "Not as good as last time, this time was better. This was a lot of hard work this time, oh my god, guy is tough." The moment showed a side of RDR fans rarely see, a mix of disappointment and respect toward his opponent. It was clear the loss hit him deeply after all the effort and preparation he had put into the fight. At the post-fight press conference, Brendan Allen was full of confidence, reflecting on his performance and making his case for a high-profile matchup next. He went on to call out Khamzat, saying that despite some recent setbacks against Nasruddin Imavov and Fluffy Hernandez, he believes he's still one of the top contenders in the division. When asked about why he deserves a title shot despite those past losses, Allen didn't hesitate to respond. He explained that anyone who truly understands the unified rules of MMA and takes the time to watch those fights closely would see that many of the so-called significant strikes against him weren't clean shots. Allen argued that if the tape was reviewed carefully from different angles, it would be clear that a lot of those strikes either missed or hit his guard, meaning they shouldn't count as significant. He acknowledged the official record, but stood firm in his belief that he actually won both of those fights. "It is what it is," he said. "A loss is on my record, but I learned from it. Even though I think they were close fights, I arguably won them. Maybe I'm delusional, who knows? I just come here, get the job done, give my best, and put on a show for the fans." Allen continued by saying that he's not just fighting for himself, but also for everyone who supports him, and for the promotion that gives him these opportunities. He made it clear that he wants to be the face of the division, someone fans can rely on for exciting fights. Despite acknowledging how stacked the division has become, Allen expressed determination to keep improving and climbing toward the title. He ended his remarks by saying that he's still at the top, still grinding, and will continue chasing that championship belt until he reaches it. Moving on to another news, Daniel Cormier has finally responded to all the backlash he's been facing after his recent comments about Merab and Khamzat. Over the past week, DC has been trending across MMA headlines for 2 major reasons. First, his criticism of Khamzat, where he claimed that Khamzat relies too heavily on double-leg takedowns. That comment didn't sit well with many fans, especially after Khamzat clapped back at him online, calling out DC for being biased. But that wasn't the only reason Cormier was under fire. He also stirred up another controversy when he questioned the accuracy of Merab's all-time UFC takedown record. During one of his recent discussions, DC said he's not entirely convinced that the official UFC takedown numbers are being tracked correctly. His remarks immediately sparked outrage among fans, particularly because many pointed out that Cormier never questioned Khabib's numbers when he recorded 22 takedowns in a single fight. After days of backlash, Daniel finally jumped on Twitter to clarify his stance. He said, "I'm not mad at the takedowns. I'm just saying I've always not quite understood how they score them in MMA. I still don't believe Khabib got 22 takedowns." Cormier emphasized that his issue wasn't with Merab personally, but with how the sport defines and tracks a takedown. As Merab gears up for his record-breaking 4th title defense in the bantamweight division, where he'll face his old rival Petr Yan, DC wanted to make sure fans understood his perspective. He explained more about it on ESPN's Good Guy, Bad Guy show, where he broke down the issue in detail. According to Cormier, the real problem lies in how MMA scoring systems treat certain grappling exchanges. He said the MMA takedown is a problem. The way they score MMA takedowns is the problem. Chael, a takedown should be when you go to the mat. A takedown should not be when you get back up and the guy picks you up and just puts you back down again. He never lost control. Cormier went on to say that even after sitting with the people who were responsible for tracking and defining takedowns, he still walked out confused. He explained, "They called me in. Chael, they sat me with the people that do the takedowns, and I still walked out of there saying, well, it ain't a takedown. You're not going to convince me otherwise. They should get us, the fighters, in the room and let us tell them what a takedown really is." DC believes that if fighters were part of the conversation, the numbers wouldn't look so inflated. In his view, Merab didn't actually score 20 takedowns in his fight. Instead, he probably landed around 5 or 6 legitimate takedowns, while the rest were what Cormier called mat returns, moments where Merab lifted his opponent back to the ground after losing control for a second. Cormier made it clear that that he respects Merab's skill and work ethic, but he stands firm on his point that MMA's current takedown statistics can be misleading. His comments have reignited the debate about how grappling exchanges should truly be scored inside the octagon, and once again, Daniel Cormier finds himself right at the center of the MMA conversation. Moving on to another news, Joe Rogan just made a massive statement that's got the entire combat sports world buzzing. On a recent episode of his podcast with Andrew Schultz, Joe said he genuinely believes a Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira fight could be the biggest event in the history of all combat sports. He didn't just say it would be huge for the UFC, he said it might be the single biggest fight ever. According to Joe, the hype, the storyline, and the clash of styles between these two monsters make it something truly once in a lifetime. During the conversation, they discussed the rumors of Jones potentially making his long-awaited return at the White House event. Things escalated quickly when talk turned to Pereira's next move, with Joe pointing out that Pereira seems locked in on moving up to heavyweight and finishing his career in that division. That instantly opened the door to a possible showdown with Jon Jones, a fight that could shake up the entire sport. The question now is whether it'll actually be Jones who steps up, or if it could be the winner of Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane taking that spot. Nothing's confirmed yet, but Joe Rogan made it clear the real money fight, the one that would break every record, is Jones versus Pereira. And just when things couldn't get any crazier, Khamzat also threw his name into the mix, saying he'd be willing to go up to heavyweight to fight Pereira. That statement alone sent fans into a frenzy, as it shows how badly top contenders want a piece of the Brazilian knockout artist. The UFC's heavyweight picture has never been this unpredictable. With Pereira's rise, Jones's legacy, and hungry contenders like Khamzat waiting in line, the division is an absolute powder keg. Fans are already losing their minds over the possibilities. Imagining Pereira's devastating striking against Jones's elite wrestling and fight IQ, Joe went on to break it down even further, saying if Jon really thinks he's going to face Pereira, he's already mentally preparing for it. He added that the matchup doesn't even need to be for a title. It could be at catchweight, maybe 225 pounds, and it would still sell out instantly. He joked that they could call it the Bad Motherfedor edition, and it would break every record in combat sports history. According to Joe, you've got the greatest fighter of all time in Jon Jones, the man who's done everything in the sport, going up against Alex Pereira, arguably the most destructive striker the UFC has ever seen. He said no one has ever looked or fought like Pereira, and the idea of those two sharing the octagon is something fans will never forget. In Joe's words, this fight wouldn't just be massive for MMA, it would be the biggest fight in human history. He wasn't exaggerating. He truly believes Jones versus Pereira would be a spectacle unlike anything the sport has ever witnessed. Moving on to another news, Henry Cejudo shared his thoughts on the upcoming UFC 323 title fight, where Merab will defend his bantamweight belt for the fourth time against Petr Yan. The two previously met back in 2023, with Merab dominating the fight and winning by unanimous decision. Now, as they prepare for the rematch, Cejudo believes Yan's only realistic chance to dethrone the champion is through a knockout. During an interview, Cejudo was asked if he could see a scenario where Yan comes in and actually beats Merab. He responded honestly, saying, "I mean, no, not really, bro. Not really. Especially since Merab has just proven he's on another level. The only way Petr can win this fight is if he finds that knockout shot." He explained that Merab's pressure, pace, and cardio are unmatched, and that it's almost impossible to outwork him over 5 rounds. Cejudo suggested that Yan's best chance is to go hard early in the fight, attack Merab's body, and look to land something big in the opening rounds. If he's going to win, it has to be early, Cejudo said. Petr doesn't have the wrestling to cancel out Merab's game. If he tries to grapple, Merab will just escape and make him work even more. He emphasized that Yan isn't known for submissions, so if he doesn't find a knockout, it's going to be a long night for him. According to Cejudo, Yan has never really shown much of a ground threat, and that gives Merab all the freedom to stick to his usual relentless style, constant movement, pressure, and volume. That just lets Merab keep doing what he does best, Cejudo added. He's not slowing down, and he's not getting tired anytime soon. He also mentioned comments from John Wood, who said that things might actually be worse for Yan this time around. In their first fight, Yan reportedly claimed he was only at 40%, while Merab was dealing with an illness. Despite that, Merab still dominated. Now, Cejudo pointed out, Merab has only gotten better and stronger since then. "One thing's for sure, bro," he said. "Merab has gone better, man. He's more confident, more complete, and the guy's been active. Winning 4 fights in a single calendar year. That says a lot." Cejudo concluded by praising Merab's work ethic and consistency, noting that the UFC loves champions who stay active and keep defending their titles. He said Merab's pace, mentality, and determination make him one of the hardest fighters in the division to beat. For Petr Yan, Cejudo made it clear, if he wants that belt back, he'll need to find a knockout early because otherwise, Merab's pressure and cardio will once again be too much to handle.